Hello there, my name is Beth Gaff and I'm the Media Literacy Coordinator here at the Peabody Public Library. And first off, I want to let you know that this class, as well as the other streamed classes, are all geared to go at your pace, which means that you can pause this, minimize this, go away from this, do some actions that I ask you to do, and come back to it later. You are under no obligation to sit here through the entire setting and watch this in one setting. You can come back to it at any point. It's all geared to go step by step and basic so that you can follow it fairly easy. Just like any of the other classes, if you're having a problem or you're feeling overwhelmed, please get in contact with me. I can assist you with a free one-on-one appointment, and we do that here at the Peabody Public Library, so you could just call me and my information's here, or you can email me and we can get something set up for you. Also want to let you know about the Computer Class Pass. This is an incentive program that allows you to win free prizes. Inside of this class is some kind of a code. You get me that code and I get you marked down for taking the class. Once you get 10 classes in, then you're on your way to start winning prizes and things like that. So, without further ado, I want to welcome you to OpenOffice, and this is the writer or the document section of OpenOffice. I've broke this class down into sections just to better organize it. That way, if you would have to go away from it and come back later, you'd be able to find your section a little bit easier. This class is broke down to be very basic, which means that we're not going to get into all of the features that OpenOffice Writer has to offer to us. However, we are going to touch base on some of the more important ones just to kind of get us going. And please feel free in OpenOffice to push buttons and try new things. That's really the only way that you're going to learn how to use it properly. So these are the sections that we're going to be discussing during class today. What is Writer and how do we get it? The parts of Writer, our toolbars, right-click and all the features affiliated with right-click, starting a new document, working with text, which would be selecting our text, cut, copy, and paste, finding and replacing text, and then paragraph tools, which would be your bullets, centering, and numbering. We're also going to touch base on spell check and grammar check, using a thesaurus, working with styles. This would be our fonts, our colors, our styles, how we want it laid out, our headers and our footers, working with templates, closing a document, and saving a document, different kind of file formats that we can use within OpenOffice Writer. So if you're familiar with Microsoft Word, then this is probably going to look very, very similar to you when it comes to certain things. If you're not familiar with Word, then this would be a fantastic program for you to get started on, since it's free and it doesn't cost you anything. And you download it straight from the internet, or you could purchase the CD, which is less than $5. So either way, it doesn't cost you a whole lot, or it's free. But some people get discouraged about downloading things from the internet themselves. So if you would feel more secure on getting the CD, get with me and I can help you with that. Or if at any time during this class you're starting to feel discouraged, not getting it, it's not working out quite right for you, just get in contact with me and we can schedule a one-on-one appointment to better assist you. But these are the sections that we're going to be talking about, so let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is what is Writer and how can we get it. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to download it from the computer, which it is a free software. However, you do have to have Internet Explorer in order to download it, or you have to have the internet of some sort to download it. So I already have it downloaded, but I want to show you how it works. I would just get onto the internet, and here in my search bar I can type in OpenOffice and hit enter, and then it takes me to openoffice.org, and I would click on that, and that's going to link me straight to openoffice.org, and that's where the link is for me to download the product onto my computer. So once it opens up here, I can show you. Here you have options. You can learn more about it first. You can go ahead and download it, or you can go over some of these other things. But the newest version is here, 4.1.1, and then you would just push that, and it pretty much connects you straight in to where you want to be here. And here, once you get onto this screen, you need to decide. I just stayed with the default, and then I just hit download full installation. And once the full installation is done, then you end up with this icon here, which is the OpenOffice. Ooh, look, I am outdated, so I'll need to download the newest version. But once it's downloaded, then I can double click and get in there, and we are going to be working with the text document today. But first off, we need to know what Writer is, and Writer is a word processor component of OpenOffice.org. It provides the usual features of word processor: enter and edit text, spelling check, thesaurus, hyphenation, autocorrect, find and replace, automatic generation of tables and contents and indexes, mail merge, and others. You can do the different kinds of styles, and we're going to be talking about that. But primarily, it's just a document, a word processing document, where you're able to get on there and type your letters, your resume, whatever you're wanting to do. So that is how you get Writer, and that is how you download it, and that is what Writer is. So as you can see clearly, we're doing that, and then of course once I have it downloaded, I can double click and I am in there, and that's exactly what I want it to look like. So that is what Writer is, and that is how you get it. Now we're going to talk about the parts of Writer, and I just wanted to show you that this is what it actually looks like when you have it up and going. And here we can see that up here, this is our title bar. Once we actually save our document, we will have this named. It will no longer say Untitled. It would be whatever you named it as. And then you have your menu bar, and that's all these here. Within your file menu bar, you can create a new document. You can open an existing document. We have different wizards that we can mess with. We can close from here. We can save as. We could save if we had already started something. We can export it or export it as a PDF. Your properties, your page preview, your print, and your printer settings, and of course the exit. Under your edit menu bar, you can do the cut, copy, and paste. You've also got changes that you can make. You can find and replace, and you can exchange things, also the footnotes and things to that effect. In our view, we can see the print layout, the web layout, some of our toolbars, our status bar, our ruler, our text boundaries, and navigation, whether we want it full screen, whether we want to zoom. Under our insert, here we're able to do our headers, our footers. We can bookmark pages if we want to, create sections, maybe some envelopes, move objects around, insert some pictures, things like that. Under format, we're getting into character and paragraph, bullets and numbering. The changing your case, which that would be whether it's uppercase, lowercase, your lettering. You've also got your autocorrect feature, which we have it set to while typing, so if it recognizes a word, then it'll change it for us. Of course, we've got our anchor, our wrap. We can wrap our texts, our alignment, the arrangement, flipping, group, and object. And the reason these are not allowing us to do anything is just because we haven't actually typed anything on here. We're just kind of going through the menu bar. Here you can actually go in and insert a table. You can delete items. You can select items. You've got your auto fit, the convert, and the formula bar. Under our tools, we have our spelling and grammar, our language, our word count, the numbering system. There's our footnotes, our endnotes. We can actually customize our tools if we want to. We could do some kind of an update on the fields that we're working with. And then we could open this in a new window. We could close this window, and of course we have our help. So this is what is called our menu bar. And underneath that, we have this area here, which is called our standard toolbar, and this allows us to use things pretty quickly if we want to. We could create a new document, open an existing email, PDF, printer options, our spell check, and changing the coloring around. Also, we are able to paste from this location, and we can also do the non-printing character, which puts it at the front. We have that option in Word as well. And then underneath that we have what's called the formatting toolbar. That's all this area here. Allows us to format different items. And then at the bottom here we have our status bar. It lets us know our pages. So our insert contains commands for inserting elements, and that's what this is here. It inserts elements into your document such as headers, footers, and pictures. Your format contains commands such as styles and formatting, paragraph, and bullets and numbering for formatting the layout of your document. Your table shows all commands to insert and edit a table in the text. Your tools contains functions such as spelling and grammar, customize, and options. Your window contains commands for display. And then, of course, your help contains links to openoffice.org, which would allow you to do all that. So, your writer also has several toolbars to fix and place. You've got floating and tear-off ones. Your top toolbar just under the menu bar is called your standard toolbar, and that's this bar here that we were speaking about. It is consistent across OpenOffice.org applications, whether it's Writer, Calc, Draw, or Impress. The second toolbar at the top is the formatting bar. It is a context sensitive, that is, it shows the tools relevant to the cursor's current position or selection. So for example, when the cursor is on a graphic, the formatting bar provides tools for formatting graphics. When the cursor is on a text, the tools are for formatting text. So you get kind of the idea. We've also got these properties over here that we can work with. These are just kind of quick cheats that we can do something with, and you can actually go into this little triangle and it allows you to pick a different type of, here's your styling and formats. This is your Navigator, your gallery, which is where your pictures are, and of course you can customize, but we're working with the properties primarily. So we can see here that everything that is here is also listed above, so we're definitely going to be able to get everything accomplished that we are wanting to get accomplished. So these are the parts of Writer. And as we get in further into class, some of these parts are going to make a little bit more sense to you than just kind of looking at them. We're actually going to be doing things with them. So go ahead right now. If you haven't downloaded OpenOffice, I highly recommend that you do, so you're able to follow along in class a little bit better, or if you're just wanting to watch and see what it's all about, that's fine as well. If you have downloaded it, go ahead and get into it and get yourself familiar with your interface or your layout of the parts of Writer. So now we're going to talk about using some of the toolbars, and Writer has several types of toolbars. Some of them are docked, which means that they're fixed in place. Some of them are floating and some of them are tear-off. Docked toolbars can be moved to different locations or made to float, and floating toolbars can be docked, which means that it just kind of sits in one place. The top toolbar just under the menu bar is called the standard toolbar. It is consistent across all of them, so that means Writer, Calc, Draw, Impress, all the OpenOffice have the standard toolbars. Now we're going to talk about how you can display a hiding toolbar. To display or hide toolbars, you would choose the View option, which is here, and underneath this we have what's called Toolbars, and right now we can see that we have the Find checked, the Formatting is checked, and Standard is checked. So from here we could go ahead and add an insert if we wanted to, or we could do a table. So you get the kind of the idea. Under the view and the toolbars, I'm able to come in here and create myself some more toolbars that are going to be beneficial to me. So the submenus and the tear-off toolbars, the toolbar icons with the small triangle to the right will display submenus. Tear-off toolbars and other ways of selecting things depending on the icon. So an example of a tear-off toolbar, can be floating or docked along an edge of the screen or in one of the existing toolbox areas. To move a floating tear-off toolbar, drag it by the title bar. So basically these here allow us to move our toolbars around if we want to. That means that they're docked. That means that they're set. They're there. So we could move them around if we wanted. And I've gone ahead and I've moved them back. But if I am wanting to, let's see what we can do. If I'm wanting to insert an object, that's not really what I wanted it to do. I'm trying to show you like these little menus off to the side of each one of these. Like this here has a little triangle, which lets us know that there's more options. That's what these triangles mean, is that there's more options for us. And this allows us here to dock. We can lock our toolbar, we can dock it. Visible buttons that we see now, we can also customize it. So if we click on that, then we get more options of how we might want our toolbar set and what we might want in our toolbar settings. So that's kind of handy. And if we are wanting to insert a picture from a file, something along those lines. So you get the idea. In our view, we can go to toolbars, and then we're able to, we could even customize our toolbar. That's where we were in just a minute ago. So that tells you there's another location of where you can find that. So the tear off that they're talking about is going to involve your pictures or your clip art, and we already went over how we can move them around. So you can see here, this gives us some backgrounds. We have some different kind of features that we can use. And so forth and so on. So the toolbars, they're going to be useful for you, so you want to make sure to get the ones that you're wanting, and you can customize them for sure. No issues there. I'm going to go ahead and go into the right-clicking and as far as a menu on the next slide. So we're not going to do that here, but I just wanted to show you and be familiar with your interface and the different kinds of options that you have with that as far as what your toolbars are, how you can customize them, and how they're going to benefit you. In this section, I want to talk to you about right-click, because right-click is a great feature to be getting yourself into the habit of, even for anything. So, for instance, since we're in OpenOffice Writer, if I would right-click onto this document, I instantly get menu options, and that's what these options are here. If I had some kind of wording that was in here and I highlighted my wording and I right-clicked, then I get some kind of an option for that. Can even go as far as inserting some kind of an object. Let's say we go with a chart. Once I do that, you can see I get chart options, and my options up here change as well, and I can delete that. Well, maybe I can't. If I get to the outer part here, I should be able to delete it. It is just being a silly bugger today. So now I can delete that. So you get the idea. Anytime we right click on something, we're going to get some kind of an option for ourselves, some kind of a menu. So again, the quickest way to show you is by just inserting a chart real quick, and then we can right click on the chart, and we have several different options that we have to use with that. So if we had a picture, then of course our picture tool options would change as well. So that is right click, and making sure that you can get yourself familiar with right click is really going to help you in the long run. It makes life a lot easier, I promise. So why don't you go ahead right now and minimize, pause this video, go away from it, and just practice right clicking. It's the opposite of applying an action. And just right click on things and see what kind of options you're going to get. Try inserting things and see what kind of options you get. So this was all about our right click and how it's going to help us. If you're a part of the Computer Class Pass, your secret code is OpenOffice was a breeze. Give me that code so I can get you marked down for taking the class. That way you'll be on your way for fabulous prizes. In this section now, I want to talk to you about how you can start up a new document. Sometimes when we're working with a document, we realize that maybe we want to get some information and we want to start up a new document to apply some of that information. So you can start a new blank document in Writer in several ways. From the operating system menu, in the same way that you start other programs on your computer, you can go in and go to Open. So here we could go to File, click on New, Text Document, and now you can see it pulled up a new one for us. And this one says 2, and the other one says 1. So we have both of them there. There's 2, and there's 1. So we get kind of the idea of how we can do that. You can another way that you could actually do it is right here. We have what's called New, and if we click on that little triangle there, we know that that's going to give us more options. We could just click on that. Now we've got 3 because we already had 1, or you can just push it and now we've got 4. So now we have 4 documents open at one time. So I think you get the idea of how you can start a new document. Go ahead right now and minimize this video and go in and try to create yourself some new documents just to get you going, because in the next sections we're going to actually start working with some text. So I want you to definitely have enough documents up so that way if you want to flip between the two of them, then you are able to do that. So go ahead right now and get yourself familiarized with the OpenOffice Writer, the interface, how you can start up a new document, making sure you understand what your toolbars are and what your right-click features are. We are going to be working with our text now, and as you can see, I've already kind of typed a few things and even made it to where we can use our spell check later when we are ready to do that. But in this section, we are going to be working with our text, and Writer is the word processing component of OpenOffice, and I'm assuming that you're familiar with your keyboard and mouse. You really would need to be able to in order to do this. So I am just going to kind of talk for the next couple of seconds. If you want to go ahead and type a sentence out for yourself on your document or something, you could just say, hey, having a great time in class, something along those lines, so that way we have something to work with. Typically you might want about a paragraph's worth if you want to get a lot of information, but if that's not feasible, a sentence would work just as well. So I'm just going to kind of ramble for the next couple of seconds here so you're able to minimize and pause this video, and you can just listen to my voice while you type in your sentence really quickly. But we are going to be talking about selecting your text, cut, copy, and pasting your text, finding and replacing your text, and then we're going to get into those paragraph tools. So this section is going to be somewhat long because we're going to be getting into all of those. They're not going to be all split up on different slides for you like the other ones are. So I'm hoping now that you at least have some kind of a sentence that you have typed for yourself. So now we can go in and we can select our text. And what it means by selecting your text is just dragging, and this is just left clicking and dragging it across. And we can see that it gets blue and it's a highlighted area. So once that area is highlighted, we're now able to go in and change font colors. Let me change it back. We can also just highlight that section. So if I click out, you can see that it's highlighted. We could do no highlight. So you've got a lot of options that you can do for yourself. So that one's kind of hard to see. Now if you wanted to do an area that isn't consecutive, and what I mean by consecutive is where all the letters or the words run together, you can actually use your control feature on your keyboard. So let's say that I want to do something with the word moment, and then if I push the control key down, I can choose other locations that I might want to do something with. So I'm not stuck with just having to use those items that are consecutive, meaning that they run together. So here now I can come in and I could change those colors if I wanted to, kind of ordeal. So that works out pretty well. We are also, if you wanted to cut, copy, and paste, this is where our right click is going to come in. Pretty handy for us. So let's say that I wanted to take this area, and if I right click, I now have the cut, copy, and paste features at the bottom of my menu there. And of course now when you highlight an area or select the text that you want, you're going to want to right click right on top of that to get the appropriate menu options that it has for you. So if we cut this, what happens when we cut is it's going to remove it from my paragraph, and then I can come down here and I can right click and I could paste it. So now I've just removed it from one section and I've put it somewhere else. That's what cut does. So, and of course I could go in and I could undo that by clicking on edit. I can undo and I can undo, so I can take it right back to where I was. Now if I copy, then I can just right click and push on copy. We don't visibly see anything happen, but now I can right click and I can paste, and I have it in this area as well. All I did was copy what I already had and I put it somewhere else. I didn't cut it, I just copied it. Okay, so now you understand how the paste works as well. So that is cut, copy, and paste, and how you can select your texts. Now if you're wanting to find a word, let's say, and you want to replace it, so for instance, I know that this word here has a red squiggly line underneath it, which indicates that it isn't spelled correctly. So let's say I go up to my find feature and I type in that word, and I do want it to start from the beginning. It has found it for me. So if I do that, it has highlighted it for me, and now I could replace it. I could take that out and type in asking. Oops. Well, you get the idea here. So I can take that out, and now I can type in asking. And then of course this word would be you. But that is how that we can find and replace some text. Let me click on my little icon here, and of course I could lock some of that if I wanted to. Find and replace, so visible buttons, I want visible, so that's what this is. So let's say that I want to take the word able and I want to replace it with instead of saying able, we are going, we're going. And I can hit replace. So here is able, and I hit replace, and now it switched it to going. So this way we're going to do some of the activities. So you get the idea, and that's how you find and you replace different words. And we saw here with our visible buttons, I was able to add that to my my standard toolbar or my menu bar. That way I can use it anytime I want to. So that is finding and replacing. So let's say now, I'm going to go ahead and take this out. Let's say now that I want to do some bulleting. We're going to do the paragraph options now. So right now, this is my paragraph pane right here. And right now, my align left is clicked. And that's what makes all of this to the left. If I click on the center, it now centers it. If I click on my right, it now pulls it all to the right. So you can see I have centered it now. And we want to definitely understand what the centers mean. So now I want to go back to the left because I want to use my bullets. And over here I have bullet options as well as here. So I can turn my bullets on and we can see there. Now having that highlighted, I can go in and I could choose a specific kind of bullet that I might want. And I click on more options and I'm able to get more options to help me with my bullets. Let's say I want to go with the arrow. So here I could say we have talked about writer and we have talked about the parts of writer and we've talked about our toolbars up to now and we talked about the right click menu and new document and so forth and so on. So you get the idea. This is what this does for us. It allows us to do some type of a bullet motion. Now let's say that you want to do a numbering system. Again, I could just, oops, take that one out. I could click on this and this is a simple number, or I could even go as far as doing it as a timeline. Writer's my topic, and of course how do I get it? That was one topic, but I want to go. So if I didn't have a subtopic in there, I could just hit enter and it goes to 2. So these are my Roman numerals, 3, and so forth and so on. And now that I have these options, I now get a toolbar that is affiliated with my options. And you can see that clearly there. So that's your paragraph tools, your bullets, centering, numbering. That's what all of that does for you. So go ahead and actually right here you have a bunch of little cheats is what I call it. So you can experiment with these as well as what is up here. I think this gives you a little bit more options for yourself. But go ahead right now and just kind of play around with that with your tools that involve working with your text, selecting your text, try cut, copy, and pasting, finding and replacing different words, work with those paragraph tools, that would be your bullets, your centers, and your numbering. Now I want to talk to you about spell check and grammar check. The best way to be able to tell whether you need to use the spell check or the grammar check is indicated to you by either a red squiggly line or a green squiggly line. A red squiggly line indicates that the word is not spelled correctly or that OpenOffice doesn't recognize the wording. A green squiggly line would mean that it's some type of grammatical error. So let me see if I can get us a green squiggly line. So I'm having a hard time being able to get us a green so I'm just trying to type a few things, but it's not giving me one. So if there was a green line there, it would pick it up. So the checking spelling and grammar, Writer provides a spelling checker which can be used in two ways. You can either use the auto spell check with each word as it's typed and displays a wavy red line under in misspelled words. When the word is corrected, the red wavy line disappears. Or you can try to do the ABC check to perform a separate spelling check on the document, instead of the words. So here are some features of spell checker. You can right click on a word with a wavy underline to open a powerful context menu. So if I click on this and I right click, and it'll give you selected words that you might want to use, but I don't see where it's allowing us to do that. Let me try again. And no, that's not working. If you select the suggested word on the menu, it will replace it. You can change the dictionary language from Spanish to French to German. You can add a word to the dictionary. You can click Add in the Spelling or Grammar dialog box and pick the dictionary to add it to. You can click on the Options button and Spelling and Grammar dialog box will appear. So we could go to Tools, and from Tools it says we can go to Options, and from Options we can go to Language Settings, and I'm sure it's here. So here is where you can set a specific language if that's what you want to do. So that's definitely a great feature to have if you are bilingual and you have several of them that you can do. So right now we're just going to do the spell check, and that's what this little doohickey here does for us. So as soon as we push it, it's going to come to the first word that it sees, and that S-K-I-N-G. Now I want to talk to you about spell check and grammar check. The best way to be able to tell whether you need to use the spell check or the grammar check is indicated to you by either a red squiggly line or a green squiggly line. A red squiggly line indicates that the word is not spelled correctly or that OpenOffice doesn't recognize the wording. A green squiggly line would mean that it's some type of grammatical error. So let me see if I can get us a green squiggly line. So I'm having a hard time being able to get us a green so I'm just trying to type a few things, but it's not giving me one. So if there was a green line there, it would pick it up. So the checking spelling and grammar, right, provides a spelling checker which can be used in two ways. You can either use the auto spell check with each word as it's typed and displays a wavy red line under in misspelled words. When the word is corrected, the red wavy line disappears. Or you can try to do the ABC check to perform a separate spelling check on the document instead of the words. So here are some features of spell checker. You can right click on a word with a wavy underline to open a powerful context menu. So if I click on this and I right click, and it'll give you selected words that you might want to use, but I don't see where it's allowing us to do that. Let me try again. And no, that's not working. If you select the suggested word on the menu, it will replace it. You can change the dictionary language from Spanish to French to German. You can add a word to the dictionary. You can click Add in the Spelling or Grammar dialog box and pick the dictionary to add it to. You can click on the Options button and Spelling and Grammar dialog box will appear. So we could go to Tools, and from Tools it says we can go to Options, and from Options we can go to Language Settings, and I'm sure it's here. So here is where you can set a specific language if that's what you want to do. So that's definitely a great feature to have if you are bilingual and you have several of them that you can do. So right now we're just going to do the spell check, and that's what this little doohickey here does for us. So as soon as we push it, it's going to come to the first word that it sees, and that S-K-I-N-G, let me see, it's actually supposed to be the word asking. So I could click change, and it's changed. And then U, I could change that, and now my spell check is complete, and you can see that it changed both of my words. So make sure you're in your right language if you're wanting to use that feature to the fullest that you can, which is your spell check and grammar. And you do have that little cheat there, and I do believe you also have it in your tools spelling and grammar check. There's nothing there to check because we already did, but it's letting you know that that's what it is. So this is spell check and grammar check, and had we had a green wiggly line, we would have had a few more options grammatically for us to use. So go ahead right now and just try to purposely misspell words and use your spell checker in Open Office Writer to correct what you've done. Let me see, it's actually supposed to be the word asking. So I could click change, and it's changed. And then U, I could change that, and now my spell check is complete, and you can see that it changed both of my words. So make sure you're in your right language if you're wanting to use that feature to the fullest that you can, which is your spell check and grammar. And you do have that little cheat there, and I do believe you also have it in your tools spelling and grammar check. There's nothing there to check because we already did, but it's letting you know that that's what it is. So this is spell check and grammar check, and had we had a green wiggly line, we would have had a few more options grammatically for us to use. So go ahead right now and just try to purposely misspell words and use your spell checker in Open Office Writer to correct what you've done. Now we are going to talk about using a thesaurus. And what a thesaurus is good for is replacing some of our simple words and making them a little bit more glorified. So instead of telling someone to stop, then it would replace it with some other kind of word that that would mean the same thing as stop, but make it sound a little bit better. So if you're writing in paper, some of the extras you wouldn't need. So let's go ahead and get in there. So if we go into our tools and we go to language, we can click on thesaurus, and let's say that the current word is stop. Oops. And here's some of the options that it gives us: halt, conclusion, finish, stoppage, act, stop over, layover. More commonly, we would probably use some of the first ones, which would be halt or finish. Let's say that we wanted to find another word for the word love, which is emotion. So let me go back up here to my thesaurus. So here I could type in wave. Oops. Moving ridge, movement, motion, and I could push that and click replace, and it replaced my word with motion. So let's say that I wanted to do something with the word document. So if I go into my thesaurus and I have highlighted the word document, so it's brought it up. I could do papers, writing materials, representation. So I could do papers, replace, and it has replaced my document with papers. So you get the idea. It also allows you, so if I wanted to do a different word other than fix, maybe I could type in fix, mess, muddle, pickle, fixture. This is the repair part of it. They're all nouns. But we get a list that continues to go on and on, so you can find, and you can even choose what type of English language you're using. So let's say mess, and it replaced try to mess the problems, but that wasn't quite the right context, but you get the idea of how we use a thesaurus, and a thesaurus just replaces those words and makes them a little bit better for us. So go ahead right now and just kind of play around with your thesaurus and see what kind of words you can come up with. Now I want to talk to you about working with styles, which would be your font styles, your color styles, and your font size styles. So right here in this pane here, we've talked briefly about some of this, but we haven't really touched on it a whole lot. Well, now is the time that we're going to do that. Here in this pane right here, we can see that we have a lot of different features. We have those over here as well to help us out. So let's say that I want to change my paragraph, and again we're going to use that highlighting feature or selecting the text like we did earlier in the class, just to kind of help us with this. And from here I can go to this little arrow and it shows me all of the different kinds of text options that I have. So I could click on that one, see if that's one I like. Maybe I'm looking for something smaller. Maybe I'm looking for something a little bit more fancy, but that is how we changed the text style. There's a comic strip look. That's the text style. So over here is where we can change our text size, and we can clearly see. Now if you look over here, we have the same options, so we could click them from here, or we have our grow and our shrink features, which is very similar to Word. This allows us to increase. This one allows us, now notice my number here, as I decrease it changes my font number to let me know what size I'm at, or my style size. And the same thing goes for changing it up. Now let's say that I want to change the color. I can do that from here as well. Let's say that I want to go with some type of a red. I can do that. This allows me to do some subscripting, and this allows me to do it very tight, which brings my words in really closely, somewhat tight, just normal, that's where we were a minute ago, and so forth. I have more options there. And let's say that I want to highlight all of this. Kind of hard to see with that coloring that I picked. Let's try a different highlight. Let's try a fluorescent green. Now we can see that that's all highlighted for us. I am going to take out the highlight. Oh, I got to select my text first. And now let's say that I want to center it, and we learned how to do that with our paragraph tools. Now let's say I want to bold it, and that's what the B does. It makes it brighter, bolder. Italicize it, which makes it slant to the right, and then I could underline it. Or I could undo them all by pushing them. Or let's say that I only want to underline this word. I can do that. So I think you get the idea when it comes to the font styles, the texts, the paragraph styles, and things to that effect. You can change your colors, you can bold, you can italicize, you can reduce it, you can make it bigger. You've got text flow options in there that you can work around with. You can also zoom it in, zoom it out. You can change the layout altogether if that's what you so desire to do. But it's really kind of fun to play with our font and styles, which is working with our styles, our fonts, our the style of our fonts, the size of our fonts, the color of our fonts, whether we want them bold, italicized, or underlined. There's a lot of options when it comes to working with the different kinds of styles. So go ahead right now and minimize this video and pause it, and go in and just kind of play around with your paragraph that you've been working with throughout class today. Now we're going to talk about inserting a header or a footer. We don't use these typically unless you're writing a paper, or maybe you just want it to number itself or something along those lines. So first we would go to our Insert tab, and here we have the header and the footer. Let's go ahead and click on all. Here's our header. So here's where I could label this. This is my class paper and this is page 1. So that is my header. Let me go to insert again. Let's try the default. There's my footer. Let me just click on the footer here. Oh, I've got it on default. Let's take that off. I went ahead and removed it, which is fine. And of course the default. Let me go back in. There we go. So now I can click on my footer, which is down here. So a lot of times people will put their page numbers down here, page 1. Up here might say class information, something along those lines. So now every time that I start a new page, let me get us a new page going. There's my header and my footer. This should change to page 2, but I probably just don't have it formatted correctly. But oh, I see. It changed it up there. So now if I came here and I entered this all the way down, my next one would be, this is now page 1, page 1. These all say page 1. But you get kind of the idea of what a header and a footer does. It just kind of separates our stuff for us. You can associate different headers or footers in each style. This property makes it very easy to have different headers on the left and right pages to avoid headers on pages at the start of the new chapter and so on. Setting up the header and footer pages is straightforward. So you can set it up very easily. You can activate the input boxes by selecting header on, then specify if you want left margin, right margin, the spacing, if you want it to auto fit, or if you want the same content no matter where you are. So there you go. This is a header and footer section. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, just get with me and we can go over headers and footers for you. But it's basically just supposed to page number for you and keep your title on there for you at all times, so it is always with you every time you go to a new page. That's the whole point. So why don't you go ahead now and minimize and just kind of play around with those headers and footers. It is now time for the section where we're going to talk about working with templates. And OpenOffice has some templates that we can use, and the best way to find them is to go into File, and just put your mouse on top of New. You don't have to push anything, and then come down where it says Templates and Documents. So here are some of my templates that I can choose from. Here's some presentation templates. I don't have any in there. Here's presentation backgrounds. So let's say that I wanted to go with a forest. If I double click, this is what my forest would look like. Very, very nice. It looks like it works in Impress, which is awesome if you're trying to do slideshows or something. Here's a glacier. Very cool. We go ahead and close that out. But this is just showing you how you can go in and work with some of those templates that are available to you. Let's see what this one is. Oh, very nice. That way it makes life a little bit easier for you, especially it looks like if you're using the Impress, which is just like using Microsoft PowerPoint, just like what you're watching right now. So this is just showing you how, there we go. So this would be what your keyboard looks like. And up here I've got document properties, so it tells me what the properties are, or I can switch it to a preview mode. That way I don't have to double click. I can just click on each one and it shows me what it's going to look like before I get started on it. And these are all, and then of course it says here you can get more templates online. So if we click on that, I'm assuming, yes, it is taking us to their website, which will allow us to go in, hopefully, and choose some different other kinds of templates through the services at openoffice.org. You definitely want to take advantage of the templates because they can be extremely fun and they make life a lot easier when we're trying to do things to help ourselves. We're also going to go in and look at the wizard, but you can see here we've got a basic resume, some calendars, some card templates, and so forth and so on. So if I came into File and I go to Wizards, From here, it looks like I've got what looks like an agenda. So if I push on that, it's loading up what looks like an agenda. And I could choose colorful, and this shows me colorful. So under my wizards, I also have different kinds of, so if I go to presentation, I can pick on different templates from there. So go ahead right now and just go under your file menu and go on to new. You don't need to click on it, just push it. Go down to templates and documents and click on the templates. And from here, you could do the preview mode, and it shows you what it's going to look like before you get started on it. And some of these are quite interesting. I may have to implement them when I go to do some of these other classes, because these are not in Microsoft PowerPoint. So they're quite nice and lovely. So, and you should be able to change colors around and so forth and so on. So go ahead right now and just get yourself familiar with the templates. Okay, so one thing that we haven't spoken about that we need to talk about is opening an existing document that you already have saved on your computer. We have been working with an original, meaning we typed it ourselves during class and we've been altering it as class has gone on. But what if you already have one that you want to work with? So of course we would go into OpenOffice and then our text document. And then we would go up to File and click on Open. Once we click on Open, we're going to get into a file that has a bunch of different kinds of templates. So let's say that, or not templates, but documents. So let's say that I want to try to edit this one. Because it's a Word document, I'm able to easily load it up into my OpenOffice, and it allows me to edit that. Now, let's say that that turned out to be not the one that I wanted, and let's do tips for teaching. So I could choose this one instead, and it gives me more. And from here, if I wanted, I could begin to alter my items and then resave them if I want to. So that is how you bring in an existing document that you already have ready to go, that you just need a little bit of tweaking to. Using OpenOffice would work perfectly for what you're trying to do. So let's say I have a book list that I want to open, and here it is, and now I can go in and I can edit this if that's what I so choose to do. But go ahead right now and just kind of get yourself familiar with this menu bar that you have up here that allows you to open up a document and things to that effect. It's going to make things a lot easier on you in the long run, and that you're able to get in there and edit your own documents that you've already created. Now we're ready to wrap up our class, and the last part that we're going to talk about is closing and saving your document. So let's say that I get into my OpenOffice and I go ahead and I pull over some type of a document that I want to have over here. So here's my document. Now, if I wanted to close, let's say I want to edit this, so I'm just going to add something brief and space it out for myself. So now if I hit close, it's going to say, hey, you did something to this document after you opened it. Are you sure you want to close? Because if you close now, you're not going to have any changes that are saved. So from here, I could go ahead and I could decide whether I want to save this item. So if I click on save, I can now go in and I can rename this if that's what I so desire. But let's say that I just created this. It's brand new. I've never saved it before. So there I would go to File and click on Save As. So the difference between save and save as is save allows you to save something that has already been saved before, which means it's not new. Now maybe the editing you've done to it is new, but the document itself is no longer new. You've saved it before. Whereas save as is telling the computer, hey, this is a new document, I just created it and I've never saved it before. So that's what I want to do. I want to save it as something. So by clicking on save as, then I'm able to come in here and I'm able to save it as something. And here is where I want to try to choose my file type. Now, If I choose the .doc, then that's going to allow me to open it from Microsoft Word or OpenOffice. It won't matter. If I save it to the rich text format, this allows me to open it in other programs that are versatile, meaning not just Word, not just OpenOffice. I can open it in other locations because rich text is very universal, meaning you can use it in a lot of different programs. Okay, so for this purpose, I'm going to go ahead and just click on that. And then if I click Save, yeah, I want to keep the current format. So now if I go in and I try to open, I'm going to see that I have the rich text format right there, and it lets me know that it's rich text format. Still shows it as a Word document, but it's rich text format, meaning it's universal and I can open it wherever. So that's kind of a nice handy little thing. So closing my document just by my X, going into my writer and opening up, let's go ahead and open up that rich text format that I just saved. Allows me to open it in here. So now I could save this as something else. I've already got it saved as the rich text format. Let's try it as doc and save it. So yeah, I want to do that. So now if I go into my files, I can see that I was able to save it as a Microsoft Word document, and it shows me that right there. So actually right there is one that we've edited, and right there is the one that was edited today, and it gives us our date. So as you can see, having you being able to close and saving it in a different file format, what the differences are between save and save as, will get you very far, not only in OpenOffice Writer, but in Microsoft Word, Google Docs, your spreadsheet, your calc, your Excel, and all of those type of programs. So please don't feel discouraged if I went too fast in this class and you want to learn a little bit more about OpenOffice. Just get with me and I'd be more than happy to schedule you a one-on-one appointment so we can just go over this, you and I, together. All right, well, great job. You did it. Take a deep breath. The class is over. You have made it through the basics of OpenOffice Writer. You should be very proud of yourself for hanging in there and sticking it out. Without you, there'd be no reason to have these classes, so I want to thank you for being a part of this class and any other stream class that you may have watched. Congratulations. It's all over. You don't have anything else to do with this class today. Definitely be listening for that incentive program computer class pass code that's within this class. Get that to me so I can get you marked down. Call me for a one-on-one appointment to better assist you with questions you may have in regards to this class or any stream classes, or maybe just a program or something that you're working on. These appointments are free to you, so why not take advantage of what is free to you here in the public? And I can't say it anymore. I want to thank you for being a part of the computer class today, which was OpenOffice Writer, and I hope that you got a lot out of it, and be looking for more future classes to come. And take a deep breath and relax because it's all over. I want to thank the following sites for their information and their pictures. Without the following sites, this class could not have been taken part.